Oh man, I've got a lot of stuff to talk about here. Just a few little like comments here and there. What the heck's taking Brandon so long?
What are you doing, kitty cat? What are you
What kind of
doing,
cat
kitty
do you
cat?
have?
I guess they're tabbies, I guess. I don't know. This one looks like a
Okay.
bobcat, and then my other one's like black and white, but a bunch of cool like stripes and stuff. But their names are George and Elaine.
Ah,
Seinfeld.
so
Seinfeld.
yep, yep. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm slow. My bad.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, that's
I'm
pretty
I'm
cool.
pretty proud of it.
Yeah, I think that's great, man. George and Elaine. I mean, I always wanted to have a basset hound and name him George.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just always thought that was just a fitting name for a basset hound.
Just talking about basset hounds at dinner. That's funny.
Basset hounds are cool dogs, man. I have
Well, yeah, I've
a
always wanted
Dotson.
one.
Yeah, I have a Dotson, which not a basset hound. Put
Zoomy,
it
real
in.
quick, my parents found a basset hound running around at our ranch, and it was like, oh no, you can't just let it go. And we were little kids, and we left it inside for like 10 minutes, and it completely destroyed my entire house. Just want to let you
Oh
know.
yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit, man. Like even
No,
this Dotson, not afraid to like pee on whatever he wants
destroy.
to pee on, or
Let's
just
go.
tear it up. Yeah, I mean, actually, he's good about not tearing stuff up with his teeth, but he's bad about potty training. It doesn't matter how much we work on him. If we're not on him, like, okay, you got to go outside, then
Right,
he
right.
is just, he would do anything. He's like, maybe if I go over here and pee in this corner, they won't ever see it. He's that kind
Mm-hmm.
of dog. But we have tile all throughout our house, which that would not have been something I would have wanted had you asked me before I got the house that had tile. But now I'm glad I have it. So it's just kind of one of those things.
Tell
Is
Yep.
you.
Brandon with us?
Yeah, I tried to tell you.
You tried to tell me. I
Yeah, I
tried to
will
tell
only pee on tile floors.
you.
That's the way to be.
Oh man, that is just so perfect. Well, hey guys, we're back together. The adventurous trio on for our fourth episode. And I think that we got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's been a couple weeks. So I bet a lot's happened. I know Greg was mentioning earlier that he had already researched some stuff. Brandon, I know, has been checking out like so much discography on the band that we are going to be talking about. So I am excited on what we got. And why don't you guys say hi, Scary Greg?
Yo, how's it going, guys? How you been? I know Brando, you were sick last week, so how you feeling? You back to good?
Yeah, man, doing a lot better.
Good, good. How's the
Much, much
daughter?
better. Oh, she's only sick for a couple days. It stuck with me, but not her so much. So she's good.
Well, good, good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
last week we talked about several different things, or not last week, I guess 2 weeks ago. I mean, we talked about several different things. We talked about clearly Canada.
Canadian.
Yeah, clearly Canadian. Thanks. See, I'm gonna mess up the name still. At first, I wanted to call it Clear Canadian. Now I'm calling it Clearly Canada. That's so funny.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna mess it up one way or another. But and then we went on to talk about crypta, and we talked about some shows that were coming up, like we tend to do. So this week, though, in light of them announcing their, oh gosh, I thought I knew what number this was. New album, I'll just say, but it is a new album with a new vocalist, and we're talking Suffocation. And if I'm saying the word right, hymns from the Apocrypha. If I'm saying that right,
Yeah, think
Think you
so.
are.
Think so.
I was actually calling it Tales from the Apocrypta, and I was like, oh, this is weird that we were just listening to Crypta and this says Apocrypta. But yeah, I was wrong. So that was one of those weird tricks that it was playing on me, where I guess I was only looking at the first letter and the last letter, and I thought I knew what it said, but wrong.
Good deal.
So yeah, the album art is awesome. Agreed. Brandon? Hey, Brandon, what do you think of the album art?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, man. That's good stuff. I like it, man.
Oh,
I mean, I think it fits in with their other stuff for the most part.
Now,
is it a
Got that
you,
Dan? Well,
suffocation vibe, like Souls to Deny. It kind of reminds me of that.
yeah. Well, real quick, if you're going to talk about the artwork of Suffocation, I mean, they're really the ones that put Dan Seagrave on the map in death metal. For every album cover, which he ended up doing like Lord of the Rings. And like he's like world famous within music and Hollywood and all that. But I'm curious. I need to look it up to see if their new album artwork is a Dan Seagrave. But I know, every single other one is, and Decrepit Birth is, Rivers of Nile is. He has quite a footprint on album metal covers, and so yeah, I'd have to bet my money that it is a Dan Seagrave because they always have extremely strong artwork.
I love that fact. I was actually about to look up and see who did the artwork.
Yeah, I was gonna say check that because I'm curious. Because I mean, if they didn't, I mean, he did, Pierce from Within. He did, And Time Begins from Decrepit Birth. It's super sick. So I hope it is at least.
Yeah,
I
it looks
didn't
So
like he
say
did
say
all
the
that for no
name.
reason.
That's
Night
okay.
too, and
Say the
Effigy.
name of the person you were just saying.
Dan Seagrave.
What did you just say, Brandon?
It looks like he did Effigy of the Forgotten and Souls to Deny albums.
Yep.
So I just pulled this up. It actually says, says hymns from the Apocrypha, co-produced by Christian Donaldson and featuring cover art by Greek illustrator Giannis
Ah,
Nakos. Giannis Nakos, and
I
apparently
was way
known.
off.
That's all right. Known for vomitory.
Samsonite.
Samsonite.
I was way off.
Way up, way up. But no, that was still a great fact though that I wasn't even aware of. And yeah, good information, I think, because that gives you something to look into this person and or either of them and see, maybe the other stuff they've done. You might even be able to find other bands that they've done artwork for. And I don't know if you guys are like me, but back in the day, before we had the internet out, like whenever you were buying albums, you were buying not albums, but like compilation albums that had like different songs from different artists that were going to be coming out. You know how Brandon, you and I were talking about how like bands are dropping all these songs now on streaming, and it's kind of like, man, I want to wait for the whole album. I don't want to hear the whole album before release date. But back in the day, we had these compilation discs and like Relapse Records, Metal Blade, like they would release those compilation discs, and I guess I forgot where I was going with
Well,
the.
what you were saying was you were saying you would pretty much buy an album based on the artwork, which I used to do that all my entire childhood. I mean, when you saw the cover of that
Yeah,
CD, if that's where you're going with that, it was like, holy smokes, what is this? I have to hear what this sounds like. If it looks like
Yeah.
this, it has to be good. I
yeah, and
mean,
even just the logos of the bands. Sometimes you just wanted to
oh
check them
yeah,
out. You were like, this band's got to be brutal. Look at that logo. And anyway, yeah, thanks, Greg, for recovering me there. I kind of went off on a trail and forgot how to get back to where I was
He
going. But
got lost.
no, you're good,
yeah,
man.
that happens a lot. So
Lost in the woods of sulfur.
Lost in the Woods with Zoomy, a new podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Go ahead.
I was gonna say real quick, just because you said on it, it's just another little tidbit about metal and why they do that. I've been reading a lot, like on Facebook from just band members and bands that we all listen to, them friends with. The reason why they do those singles like that, and like I mean, half the time they're putting out 3, 4, 5 singles on a 9 track album, and it's like, and everybody's kind of saying the same thing, like, hey, well, what are we even getting with the album? Like, we're already gonna hear half of it, but they make so much more money off of each single, like for a video, and they amp it up and all that, and then they'll do a big merch release, and it's like those sale dates, like right after those singles hit, are pretty much the most money they're going to make times 10 versus album release day. Apparently, album releases now in our world of metal, it's like super low sales and all that, so they get their biggest bang for their bucks with all those singles. That's why they're doing all that.
That
Huh.
makes sense. I
Yeah,
guess my thing is like, I don't know, they release one song. By the time the album comes out, I'm tired of that song. So I find myself skipping it when the
completely
album's
agree.
out, It's like, man, it kind of
Com-
just ruins the vibe.
completely agree, but money talks.
Yes, it does. Loudly.
Yeah, so Brandon, you waited though until they released their new album, which the album came out on November 3rd. You waited until that date so you could listen to the entire album. Why don't you go ahead and start talking about what you thought of the entire album? You had the freshest, you got to get it all at punch.
Man, I thought it was solid. Like I love the production on it. The bass is loud, like the bass guitar. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's just heavy, dude. And they kind of, even though they're blasting and playing death metal, it sounds slower, but super heavy. Like
I noticed some
track
groove.
4, Immortal Execration, has got to be one of the heaviest songs I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that opening riff, I was just like, holy shit, that is awesome.
Yeah, that was real heavy, man. I agree 100%. That's a good track.
I mean, there was a few songs, and I think it didn't even really dawn on me until today. I was listening to it again. Is Ignorant Deprivation from a previous album? Greg, do you know?
Dude, it sounds super familiar. I
Egg?
was listening to that just now in my car on the way home, and I feel like it is. But
Dude, that sounds
there's
like
one oh no,
Frank.
you might be thinking
That sounds like
Clarity Through
Frank doing vocals on the recording.
Clarity Through Deprivation is one of their songs.
Yeah.
With Frank, and that's like a big hit of theirs. And it sounds pretty similar of a name. Maybe they're related, but I could be completely making that up.
Well, I was
I love
noticing a
this.
difference in the actual vocals. Like, it sounds like a different vocalist on the album. I was like, that sounds a lot more like Frank than it does. Forgive me, I don't remember the new guy from.
Ricky,
Yeah.
Ricky's his name, and he came in. They had the guy named Kevin Mueller, who's now the vocalist of Alluvial. He was doing vocals for a while with them, and then he kind of, I guess, took a musical break, or I don't know what the deal was there. But then Ricky stepped in, and it's like Frank 2.0. He even like does the death chop and all that. But
Oh,
man,
dude,
talk about a similar vocalist and a hell of a fit for Suffocation. That guy is killer, and he's an amazing drummer, by the way, too.
yeah, I
I was
saw
gonna
that.
say,
He's in two or three bands as the drummer, and he does vocals in a
Yeah,
couple bands too.
he's
But
filling the shoes and then some, and that's like, I mean, what kind of an intimidating role is that going to be to step into the vocal spot of Suffocation?
right,
right.
yeah, man.
So before we get too far, I just wanted to bring up that the album Breeding the Spawn, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry, Breeding the Spawn, Suffocation. They have a song on it called Ignorant Deprivation.
I think it's a remastered version because the vocals, like that, it sounds like Frank. Like, it sounds different than Delusions of
Okay.
Mortality right before it. Like, it just sounds like a re-release to me. Like, I mean, it sounded good. It sounds like newly
And I guess it
produced.
is.
I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong. I've noticed on a lot of their albums they re-release stuff off of Breeding the Spawn.
No, I mean, it sounds like Zoomy just looked it up. It sounds like it is.
Yeah, well,
It is.
is
I
it
would
a
have to look at the
remastered
lyrics.
version, or is it? I mean, do they like re-record the song? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
right. Is it Frank?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
it Frank or Ricky? Yeah, I don't know. Let's see.
Nice. Time will tell, gentlemen.
So we'll Google.
That's so funny. Well,
Yeah.
Brandon, you checked out some other stuff. So why don't you talk about like some of the other albums and what you got out of that? Why don't you kind of give us the top of the ones that you listened to, or not, but just give us an idea of the one you liked.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm familiar with Suffocation, but not super familiar with them. Like, it's been a long time since I've really listened to them. But going back through, like, I listened to a lot of stuff I had never heard before because they've got a bunch of albums, and I for some reason just didn't check them all out, man. Like, the last one I remember listening to was Souls to Deny. So I missed, Suffocation, Blood Oath, Pinnacle of Bedlam. So going back and listening to those, I thought Blood Oath, and I think my favorite one that I went back and listened to was Pinnacle of Bedlam. I thought it was awesome. It had some jammy stuff on it that just kept catching my ear, making me want to go back and listen to it.
Jeremiah and I were listening to that one, and we both thought that one rocked pretty good. I really I like how Suffocation. I've talked to you about this with other bands, but I like how Suffocation does, like, they'll start and stop and start and stop, but whenever you do it the right way, it can sound groovy, it can sound heavy, and I just love how they do that. And they're not the only band who does that, but kudos to them. Brandon, I thought of you on at least the last few that I listened to, which I listened to the self-titled Suffocation one. So I think that one was like 2006. Pinnacles of Bedlam was like 2012, 2013, I think. And the new one, and I actually thought that the production quality of those were just so much better than even back to Pierce from Within. That was the other album I kind of listened to back of old. I started with that one because I was more familiar with that one. And I realized going through and listening to it that it was not as good as the other one or these newer ones are, which makes sense, right? You do more stuff, you continue on, you find better, hopefully you're finding better music quality as you're moving on. And that was just one thing that stood out to me. I thought of you because I actually thought that the most recent one was very full.
Yeah.
And I could feel it. And I thought, oh, Brandon's digging this. And I did feel that in Pinnacles of Bedlam. So I understood why that one was, top of your listening over the last few weeks. So anyway, just a few comments I had there to talk about
Yeah.
that. How I thought it sounded full, and I really loved that part of it. I agree 100% that the Ricky Myers taking over for vocals just did it very seamlessly. And I don't know many people that could do that. I don't know anybody that could do that, but I don't know Ricky Myers.
Well, well, that band, I mean, you got Terrence Hobbs and Derek Boyer on guitar and bass, who have been OGs since forever. But I mean, Eric Marodi, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He's on drums, and that too. I mean, stepping in for Mike Smith, who's like one of the pioneers of actual like slamming blast beats with ferocious like violence while he plays. Like Mike Smith, I mean, I know pretty much every drummer was influenced by him coming up, and him just stepping in and being able to just be that powerful, have that good a stage presence, and to take over, but not one, but two different spots in the band is a trip. But yeah, I mean they are. It's almost like a dynasty, like still going. Like
Yeah,
they keep finding
absolutely.
better and better people with like better tuned, with what they do. It's a trip. It really is. But Terrence Hobbs, man, that dude, he he's just not stopping. He's just like relentless.
Right. Yeah, and just killer. They do a great job on this album, I think. One thing that caught my ear that I liked a lot was the second track, Perpetual Deception, which I think wasn't that the first single they released?
I think
Um
so.
Man, towards
Yeah,
the end
maybe.
they do one of those
One
like
of the two.
yeah, towards the end of it they do those one of those like you were talking about Zoomy, like start stop riffs, right?
Uh-huh.
And what I thought was really cool is it's like right after the break, like they wait a whole half beat or something. Like you feel like they're gonna hit it together, and they wait an extra like half beat before they hit it, so it feels off but so on. Like I don't know how to
Right.
describe it. It's like that. I kept going back to that. I was like, that's really cool. I thought that was a nice little
I love
detail and
offbeat
touch that they
kind
added
of
to it that just made it
right.
catchier.
Yeah. That was really cool. That is one of the things I really love about the riff. But speaking on that, almost a little bit different, but even talking about how the album Pinnacles of Bedlam or Pinnacle of Bedlam starts out, you're like, how do you even start a song that's just da 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 da? I mean, it's just at 10 the second the album. I had to back that one up 3 or 4 times to see like where it actually started, because it was so fast, it hit so heavy the very second you put it into play. So um, kind of like this, what you're saying, not, but just speaking on their timing and their ability to make something sound really good that doesn't seem natural.
Yeah.
I loved that one. That was probably my favorite song. I did check it out before the actual album released, and it didn't ruin the other stuff for me. But I 100% agree that I got my best, before it came out. And I don't know why, if that was just influenced by that album art that they did with their little video of zooming into different spots. But they did a real good job on there. I also liked the Delusions of Mortality. I really liked that song too. Greg and I were briefly talking about that one. And I wanted to
Mhm.
talk about Ignorant Deprivation one more time. I cannot find where it has a vocalist name, but it does say re-recorded for this album. So I'm gonna venture
Okay.
to say it's probably Ricky Myers.
Yeah. Well, he does a really good job of sounding like Frank on that one. Because like I was listening to it on the way home, I was like, "Is that Frank? Is that a different vocalist?"
They'll do a flip flop on me, do the old
Yeah.
switcheroo.
Yeah. All I
Oh,
know
that's
is
pretty
I
good.
am really excited to go see them. I know they're playing in Houston on Friday, December 1st on the Ancient Unholy Uprising tour. And guys, I'm looking at it now. They're going to be at Oklahoma City, 89th Street Collective on November 29th. I know I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm trying to hit up this cattle decap show tomorrow, the first fragment show on Thursday, and the suffocation show on the 29th, man. And it's going to be hard for me to swing that, but that's my goal. If I have to use any extra cash I have, they're going to go to that. But I'm going to try to drag Jeremiah with me. He's my new like concert buddy, and so I don't know if he loves the music as much as me, but he puts up with it, and he loves going to the shows and spending time together doing it. So I think maybe he just knows I love it. So
Well,
um,
you got to talk about how at Psychroptic, Jason Keyser from Origin had him get up and crowd surf all over the entire venue. You got to talk about that a little bit. I mean,
yeah,
that was his first big time to hop off the stage. But yeah, that was awesome. He got commanded up there and he did his thing, and he wasn't scared at all. He got passed around the entire venue.
yeah, he's not afraid of much. You're right, no fear. He just jumped right off that. He was ready to rock. And you know what's actually really cool? Here was my proud parent moment. There is he said to me, "Are we not going to go up front and watch the band?" And I was like, "Oh, you mean like right up front?" And he was like, "Yeah."
Huh.
And I was like, yeah, let's do it, man. I always kind of just stood not in the back, but kind of in the middle. And but
Well, I turned around and he was like right behind me, and it blew my mind because I was up there for Decrepit Birth, And then I turned around and he was like, "Whoa!" Like right there on my like right there on my elbow. I was like, "What are you doing up here?"
he was loving every minute of that. So, but yeah, hey, Brandon, you remember that venue, right? It was the conservatory.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
So they moved.
89th Street.
Yeah, they moved
Oh,
the
sorry.
stage. No, you're good. You're good. 89th Street is what it is now. Yeah, they moved the stage. So it used to be kind of sideways, like as you walked in the building, it was on your left. That was the
Yep.
stage. Yeah. So now when you walk in the building, well, okay, it's still to your left, but it's on that back wall. It's like on the wall adjacent. So
Oh, okay.
it's not on the
If the other
same wall.
stage was on the south side, then this one would be on what, the west side?
I know. Yeah, I know what
No.
you mean. Like if you're standing in the crowd looking at where the stage used to be, it'd be on the big wall on the right, and the sound.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Dude,
That makes
they
more sense.
remodeled it
Did they get
too.
rid of the stairs?
It Yeah, no, they got that one curb and that pole still in the middle, but no, I mean they remodeled it and have like a decent bar there now, and the bathroom's actually usable, and it's like every metal tour that's coming to Oklahoma is going there. So
Yeah.
as much as I wish I didn't have to drive to Oklahoma City for every show, it really has done a very positive thing for our scene. And actually, I used to go to I can't tell you how many times I've seen a concert there and been 1 out of 10 people, and for whatever reason, the last 2 years, metal shows there are popping off. I mean, they're selling out. There's tons of people. It's actually shocking to see where these I don't know where these people are coming from, but I'm happy they're there to support the scene.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I've only really seen some good shows lately, I feel, at the Diamond and at the 89th Street, the old conservatory. Like,
Yeah. Cattle's at the Diamond Ballroom tomorrow night.
right, yeah. Are you gonna be there?
Man, I don't know. I got to drive about 5 to 6 hours northeast tomorrow morning for work, and I don't know if I'm really going to get in the car at 5 p.m. and drive to Oklahoma City. So I'm going to say no, and it's breaking my heart, but life is life.
Yeah, I know it's tough, man. It's definitely. I mean, even for me driving up to the city, I get it. It's a solid hour. I feel like getting up there for me, to the.
Dude, for me, it's an hour and a half solo, and just I don't know, man. Driving home at midnight or whatever, even 11, solo down 44, it gets old. But I'm gonna try, but we'll see.
Well, are you gonna try to hit up Suffocation or one of these other shows that are coming?
Yeah, yep. I can't do First Fragment and Fury, but I'm going for Suffocation.
That'll be cool. Brandon, which ones are you gonna be seeing? Which ones are coming to Houston again?
Not cattle. The cattle decap's not coming here, but I'm definitely on Sunday the Rags to Riffage tour with
Yes.
Inferi and First Fragment, and then I'm planning on going to Suffocation for sure. I was pretty bummed that I didn't get to make it to Party Cannon last Wednesday.
Oh yeah, man. I was wanting you to report. We actually need some original material. I was noticing that I am always sharing other people's stuff, and I'm just wishing that we had our own stuff to share. Like, hey everybody, here's a recording, from this show or that show. But anyway, it will happen soon. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have something.
There you go.
Greg, you were going to talk to
Mm.
us about some other stuff. Actually, let's do this first. Did you dig the new Suffocation album? Do you recommend the new Suffocation album? Like, what else do you guys want to talk about that album?
I mean, I think we covered the bases pretty well, but yeah, I recommend it. It's great. It's classic Suffocation, and it's got like a new like edge on it, I think, of production. And so far, my whole timeline on Facebook is how awesome the new Suffocation album was. Everybody's loving it. You know, you got Derek the Red; he's going off about it every day. Um, yeah, people are really enjoying it so far. I know it's been received really well. So I mean, more power to them. The powerhouse continues.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
and you talk about that legacy that's moving on, and I think it's 100% awesome to actually start seeing some of these bands maybe just pass the torch and change members, which wouldn't have been something I would have really supported, like back in the day. I would have been like, oh, it's not even the same members as it used to be. But nowadays, it's seems like that is more accepted, that is more okay, and I'm actually excited about it because some of these great bands, as long as they keep putting out good stuff, like I'm all
Yeah.
about it.
As much as I don't want to admit this, I mean, everyone, and I agree with what I'm about to say, but everyone's more realizing like it is a business in the end. And I mean, yes, these bands are doing it because they love it. And it's the passion of the music, and they love sleeping in a van with six dudes for 2 months, and all that. But it really is a business. I mean, if something doesn't fit, you've got to, if you want that project and idea to really live on, you've got to fit the mold, and you've got to find the right person for the job. Or people commit, they have a kid, they want to get out of the touring life or whatever. I mean, that doesn't mean that all these fans that have poured their heart and soul into listening to this band for 10 or 11 years have to be like, okay, good night. I mean, I think it's cool that people are being more receptive of someone else stepping in, even to an iconic role like Frank's.
Yes, 100%. I'm
Yeah, well
starting
put.
to like it, and I agree. Yeah, well put. So before, again, I'm going to do another before, but that brings me to the Pantera news. Did you guys hear that they were like leading everybody up to this new news, and that was today? Did you guys hear what it was?
Yeah, they've
I have not heard of this.
headlining tour.
Right. So they got a headlining tour, but they have no shows in Texas, no shows in Oklahoma.
No, I think
So
they're hitting cities that they didn't
Oh,
hit already. Like they're going
no,
to different areas.
Texas.
right, right, but
Oh, that makes sense. It's like Slayer
Yeah.
yeah,
with that 9 leg last tour ever. Here's the next last
Yeah,
tour.
it was
Here's the next last tour. Here's the next last
yeah, it
tour.
was like
right.
2 years of the last tour.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you're 100% right. Only I didn't get to see him, so I'm a little bit bummed about
Oh
that.
man, I did. That shit was great.
Yeah, and so that was my little bit of a segue about the passing of the torch, right? Because the Pantera really hurt, man, for some people. Like it burned them. They hated
Oh
it.
man.
Oh man, you heard it come out. Like people aren't screaming about Ricky Myers taking over for Suffocation, at least not that I've heard
No.
of, to the level of Zach Wild playing for Dime. And man, all I can say is Brandon, thank you for going to that show. Thank you for checking it out and telling us how badass we know it was, because I'm jealous I didn't get to see it again, man.
Oh,
I'm like, I haven't seen Pantera for like 20 years.
man, I would absolutely go again. I hope they keep touring. Like
Yeah.
I would go see that exact same concert, like more. I would go to that once a year if I could.
So what
That everybody kept calling it the Pantera cover band, and it was like, calm down, calm down. Like let it be. Like let this be. But yeah, it was a little bit ridiculous how butthurt people got about it. But it is what that's metalheads for you.
yeah, we definitely have our opinions, or if we didn't, we wouldn't be, talking right now. But so now, Greg, now for real, dude, I am ready to hear about some of that other stuff that
I
you
mean,
mentioned.
I didn't have a ton of stuff. I was just mentioning there's a band called Vitriol that I'm obsessed with. They're from out of Oregon, and they had an earlier EP I think like 6 7 years ago, but they put out an album 4 years ago that it is hardcore. I mean, no, it's not hardcore. Let me take that back. It is furious, fast, intense technical death metal, and it is fantastic. It's like they popped up on the scene with this first album that was such a punch in the face, and it was just unbelievable the way that they presented themselves with their look and their package. And I mean, it wasn't like oh, who's this new band that's going to grow into it? It was like they started and did not put out a release on purpose. They talk about it until they were completely 100% well polished. They had the exact image they wanted. And it was like, the only way I can say it is like it was a breath of fresh air for death metal for me a few years ago. I was just like, oh, thank God. Someone really is bringing the absolute pain and hatred. Like
Yeah.
it's just so refreshing to me. But they put out a new track. And again, that's Vitriol. It's called The Flowers of Sadism, and they just recorded a new album with Dave Otero, who we all are fans of, if you know it or not. I mean, he does Inferi, he does Cattle Decapitation. It's a recording studio in Denver that a lot of big heavyweights will go to, and he's amazing. I mean, Arcspire, you name it, you've listened to it. But anyways,
Metallic
that comes out in
Carnage.
January. Yeah, yeah, that's what really put him on the map. Actually, I think, at least in my world. But yeah, I was gonna say that comes out on January 26th. That album does, and then also just another track that I saw released was a band called Skeletal Remains. They put out a song called Void of Despair, and they too are extremely good, just refreshing death metal. It's like it's just very nice to hear somebody still bringing the classic old school death. And yeah, those are two that I was really hyped on. Both of my videos, and I think that was really about it that I was on my radar.
So another album came out the same day as Suffocation, and I don't know. I mean, it didn't get a. I didn't see it in a lot of places except for the infamous Facebook group we're in that I can't even remember what the hell it's called. Um,
Technical, progressive, something,
yes,
something, something death metal.
but the album is Xoth, Xoth, and the album's called Exogalactic. Um, it's got a cool sound. If you guys haven't checked it out, you should give it a spin. It's pretty cool. Kind of thrashy, techie stuff. I don't really know how to describe it. I haven't dug super deep into it, but the first couple of tracks I've listened to, they caught my ear. Like they got some catchy riffs and interesting melodies and stuff. Like it's pretty cool.
Nice.
So
I'll check it out.
it's worth a check.
Sweet, sweet. Yeah, and I would highly recommend both those other singles to you guys. And if you haven't listened to Vitriol, you should definitely check them out.
So Vitriol, I was noticing that they were formed in 2013, and yeah, violence, pain are their themes. So that kind of
It
explains.
is.
You said bring the hate, and I immediately I just this website popped up and it said themes, violence, pain, and I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, their last song I think it was called "Pain Will Define Their Death." So yes.
Yeah.
What was it? The last album was To Bathe from the Throat of Cowardice.
Oh, from the Third of Cowardice. That's right. That's right.
Yep.
I was thinking of a song name, I think.
Yeah, pain will define their death.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Track 10.
Yep, yep. Very good album. Very good album. Yeah, I can't recommend those guys enough. Actually, like John Longstreth, I remember him putting him Origin and Morbid Angel. Or no, wait a minute. John was playing drums in Morbid Angel. Or maybe it was Hate Eternal. I'm messing this up a whole lot. But long story short, John Longstreth, who is an absolute legend, as we all know, he put up a post that was like, some bands play death metal live, and then there's Vitriol. And it's just always really made me want to go see their live shows. Their live footage is just next level. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain what I'm getting at with the whole like presenting themselves with that full package. But if you look at even their just the band pictures they've taken to their artwork to their playthrough videos, it's all just so well crafted. It's like, man, these guys really put a lot of time and effort into this before they said, okay, let's hit upload. You know, just I respect it a lot.
Yeah, that's something I actually noticed pulling them up is their logo. I mentioned logos, but they have a Christmas star in the middle of it, like a beacon or a star, like in the middle of their logo. Um, and
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. I'm digging the logo a lot. I like how it's like spider webby, but not blood drippy, but not thorny, but not. I can't even. Yeah, it's good
Yeah,
stuff.
I wonder if it's truly a Christmas star or if it's something else. But
Oh,
yes,
I just
it is
used that.
badass.
Yeah, that wording as I was thinking, like Christmas tree,
I
Christmas
was like,
star. It could be
they could be a Christian band. I don't know. I don't think they are, but they
not with
could be.
violence and pain. It could
Well, they
be
got a lot of thorns.
it could be a lighthouse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could be a lighthouse. So, and then Skeletal Remains, definitely worth checking out. You sent Brando and I the video that they put out, and I don't have that to name of that track in front of me right now, but it was really cool. It was my first real exposure to him. So
Illusions of Morality. That's what it is. But yeah, they're good, man. They're good. They kind of remind me of have you guys ever heard of 200 Stab Wounds?
Yes.
Man, those guys, they're too. They're about to put out new material, and they have absolutely put a impact on metal as well. They just did some of those opening updates for Metallica on that big deal where they were kind of trading off opening bands. But those two is another band that's like this is refreshing. Death metal is still strong and well alive. But yeah, that's a band that we should dive deeper into on a later episode for sure.
yeah, I would love to talk about them in the future. And to kind of cap off the new stuff, I was also looking up Zoth, and I think that's how did you say it, Brandon? Zoth?
I have no idea how to pronounce it, man. Just Xoth, I guess. I don't know.
Man. So from
Figure it out.
yeah, from
Yeah.
Seattle, Washington. They 2014 is whenever they started, and their first full length it looks like was Invasion of the Tentacube, and that was in 2016. They had another full length, Interdimensional Invocations, 2019, and then in 2023, this is the one you're talking about, Brandon, Exogalactic. So have to check those out. I haven't heard of Zoth. I'd love to. That'll be a good one to listen to. Everybody check out Skeletal Remains and Vitriol.
Side note about
Boom.
Skeletal Remains, they are on the Suffocation tour with Incantation and Stabbing.
That
Yes.
that is what I forgot. That is what I forgot about. Yes, that is huge.
Yeah, big deal. Big deal. Good.
So
Good.
that's going to be a
fact
really
there,
good show.
Brandon. Do what?
Yeah, so it is good that I brought it up.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's going to be a really good concert. Like everyone should
Yes,
go
it
catch
will
that
be.
tour if you can. Wherever you are, go to it.
Yes. Check that out. And then I don't know if Peeling Flesh is just playing that show in OKC,
It's just that one show.
but that is going to make the OKC show pretty crazy too. I don't even know what to.
Oh, it's gonna be it's gonna be wild because they're like the gangster groove slam, and I
Yes.
mean the OKC kids pour their hearts out for these guys. They literally just got done. They're like on their way back right now. I'm have them on Facebook and all that. They just played a full nationwide 2 month tour with Suicide Silence, Chelsea Grin, some of the biggest bands in deathcore. Period. So yeah, they're like the buzz is insane, and this will be like their welcome home show. So I imagine that it's going to be wall to wall madness.
I saw videos of them playing with the Suicide Silence show here recently up in Ottawa, Canada.
Yeah.
And that looked pretty crazy. The person who put that video out there, they did a real good job of like clipping together some real good spots, which you could see the crowd
Is
and then you could see the band. And so it was really neat, even though you really didn't get to hear a song.
Right, isn't it wild what they can do with that these days? And they'll do it so quickly and so effortlessly. It's like kids have gotten so good at that stuff.
Ah, blows me away, man. The talent that is out there is insane. And I realize that, me liking to play guitar, liking to play bass, I'll never be as great or as good as, most people. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, when we were in a band, you actually had to go face to face and sit down, for 4 hours a week and actually have band practice. Now they just send a file across the country and all of a sudden you've got a band signed to Unique Leader.
yeah,
It's crazy.
but there still is a need for bands that can perform live. And
Oh, absolutely.
all of the stuff we hear on albums that we're like, oh my gosh, still, there are some times I'm like, can these guys play this live? Now they probably can. I'm not taking away from anything they're doing. I'm just saying it's just sometimes so insane the technicality that goes into the music, all the details that go into the music. It almost just sounds like it could be a lot of great production, which is now more easily available to just someone
Oh.
sitting at home if they want to spend the time to learn.
Well, I mean, with the editing they can do with drums, I mean, they can pretty much you can perfect drums to where you're not even missing a hit, even when you missed it. I mean,
Right.
it's a lot of it's like, is this really happening? And there are dozens of bands, that are just just album projects only that aren't even going to do it live because of that simple fact. They know they can't play it. I mean, there's this band Infant Annihilator that is like a massive argument with everybody nonstop always because the drums are computer made. The drummer's even admitted he can't play them, but people still fight tooth and nail to the grave about that guy can play them, and it's like he said he couldn't. Just move on. Like,
I will say their last one, the Battle of Yalda Bayoth. Is that what it is?
yeah.
Like that shit was sick.
Dude, I love them, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I almost didn't even want to admit to like my death metal friends that I liked them because they were like, for some reason they're just adored by the deathcore and like the swooped hair karate kids,
That
And man, I love them. I think they're great. They're
dude,
hilarious.
that last one they did though, that the battle or whatever, like it sounds different
Hmm.
than the one before it. The
Yeah,
Elegian Grand Devil
Grandevale. Yeah.
Galiarch, whatever. It's got a different sound to it, but
Hey,
like it sounds
and
so much more evolved. Like
shout out to Dickie Allen doing the snarl on Infinite Annihilator. 6 years before Will Ramos and Lorna Shore ever did that on that breakdown. Just a
right?
little shout out to the man Dickie Allen.
Hey, he's been touring with Necro Goblikon,
Yes, dude, what a good fit. I never would have thought that, but what a
right?
good fit.
I was listening to their album
Yeah,
Stench the other day. This is still so good.
yeah, it is. That is
I like what they do. They make me laugh whenever I'm, you know, listening to what they're playing. I use the word fun way too much with metal, but they're a fun band.
Metal is fun
That's
music.
their whole point. I mean,
Yeah,
that is fun. If you're in metal, that's like gonna be one of the funnest bands. I don't know if that's a word, but most fun bands around.
hell
Yeah,
yeah.
funnest for metal is allowed. Yeah, 100%. So
All right.
anyway, it's just an adjective that I tend to overuse when describing it. Maybe because I can't find another word, but they just make me happy. And so,
There you go.
and you know what's funny? I talked to somebody.
You're not allowed to say fun,
Yeah,
Zoomy.
you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to. No fun. No fun. This is metal. I was talking to somebody, and I can't remember who this was, but I mentioned that I listen to metal, and they were like, "Oh, I used to listen to metal, but I'm not an angry person anymore." Or yeah, but I'm not that angry anymore. And I thought, yeah, metal's why I'm not angry.
Yeah, that is why I'm not angry. And it's funny. I heard a good quote the other day that metalheads are just nice people pretending to be mean, and hippies are mean people pretending to be nice.
I love it.
Yes,
It's
down with
true.
hippies and metalheads, man. That's like dolphins and whales, ancient enemies.
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, for those of you who don't know, that's another South Park reference. No, letting that one out there because they hate each other, dolphins and whales.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I've got, gentlemen.
I was gonna say, I think that's about time to wrap her up. That's a good episode, boys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of good stuff that we talked about.
Great
I
talking
really
with you guys.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Every single week, I love it, Brandon. We're so glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, thank you.
And I guess, another day at work tomorrow. Maybe one of these days we can have somebody pay for us to go to these concerts. Like, that would be awesome. But anyway, for the meantime,
Yeah, maybe we're gonna get a listener that likes hearing our opinions so much that he's gonna start buying us tickets. That is what we
yes,
need to work towards.
yes, we need to work towards that, and we need to work towards giving away tickets. Like, hey,
If you're out
There you
there,
go.
if you're out there and you're listening, we are willing and ready to accept.
yes, we will go to these concerts for free.
On your dime, and we will tell you exactly what happened at it.
That's right.
Well, gentlemen, as always, I love it. I love the time together, just talking some metal. Who knows what next week will bring? And until then, we'll see you guys later. Metal out.
Sayonara.
Have a good one.
Chiclacky.
All right.